All right, algebrats, this is the day. It's kind of a lot, but we're going to divide polynomials. Stick with me.
Flack math! Give me some math and I'll give you some flack. Flack math!
All right, this is lesson 86. We're going to divide polynomials. Remember, polynomials are multi-term expressions. So let's just start with something that we already know. So we're going to divide polynomials today. This is our objective. So really what this is all three of these terms divided by 4x to the fourth. So if I separated this into three separate division problems, it would just look like this. 12x to the 12th over 4x to the fourth minus 8x to the 8th over 4x to the fourth plus 4x to the 6th over 4x to the fourth. Well, this isn't bad. So 12 divided by 4 is 3. X to the 12th divided by x to the fourth is, remember what you do with the exponents? You subtract, so you get x to the 8th minus 8 divided by 4 is 2. X to the 8th divided by x to the fourth is x to the fourth. 4 divided by 4 is 1. X to the 6th divided by x to the fourth is x to the second. So far, so good? So we could have done it this way too. We could have just, this is the way we used to do division. We call this long division. So we're dividing these three terms by this 4x to the fourth. So when you do long division, you're doing dirty monkey smell bad. Remember that? So the first term is divide. So we're going to divide this first number here. So 12 divided by 4 is 3. X to the 12th divided by x to the fourth is x to the 8th. So you could have done it this way, and then we multiply, remember, 3x to the 8th times 4x to the fourth. Well, we get 12x to the 12th. We subtract, we bring down the next term. Remember doing this? So this ends up being negative 8x to the 8th. So divide that, you get negative 2x to the fourth. Multiply, you get negative 8x to the 8th. Subtract, that cancels that, and you get 0 plus 4x to the 6th. Divide that, and we get 1x squared. So this is how you would divide that, but this seems a little overkill for dividing a trinomial by a monomial. But it's very necessary when you're dividing a trinomial by a binomial, or any kind of polynomial by a binomial. All right, so that's what we're going to do next. So here is example 3. So let me show you what example 3 looks like. Divide negative 2x squared plus 3x to the third plus 5x plus 50. We're going to divide that by this guy, negative 3 plus x. We're dividing this polynomial by this binomial. So how do we do that? Well, first step, we're going to put everything in order, and then we're going to put it in our little box here, okay? So the first thing here that we need is the 3x cubed, okay? And then it goes minus 2x squared plus 5x plus 50, okay? So that's all divided by this guy. Well, let's put this guy in order. This is just x plus negative 3 or just x minus 3. So far, so good? All right. So now we're going to still follow these rules. We're going to go dirty monkey smell bad. So D stands for divide. What you're doing is you're only dividing the first term. So you don't care about, so technically you want to divide this this binomial by this binomial. Okay? But we can just ignore that second term of that binomial and ignore that second term of this binomial. So the only thing we're doing right now is dividing the first term by the first term. So what's 3x cubed divided by x? That's it. Okay, and most of the time you're just going to be dividing by an x. So that means you're just going to subtract 1 from the exponent. So 3x cubed becomes a 3x squared when you divide an x out of it. Okay? So dirty monkeys, what does M stand for? That's multiply. So really what's happening is you're multiplying this 3x squared times this whole divisor. So you're going to multiply 3x squared times that. So you're going to need to distribute. What's 3x squared times x? 3x cubed. And you should always get the same there. If you don't, you did something wrong. Minus 3x squared times negative 3 is negative 9x squared. Dirty monkeys smell. What does S stand for? That's subtraction. All right. Now, the trick here is when you're subtracting, sometimes you're subtracting positive numbers, sometimes you're subtracting negative numbers. So I think the easiest thing to do here is to chicken scratch, of course. So instead of subtracting this binomial, we're going to add the opposite of this binomial, which is this. So remember, when you subtract a parenthesis, you have to chicken scratch everything inside of that parenthesis. Okay, so now when you add them together, addition's much easier than subtraction. 3 plus negative 3 cancels, we knew that. And then we've got a negative 2x squared plus a positive 9x squared. That gives us a 7x squared. Dirty monkeys smell bad. Okay, what does B stand for? Bring down the next term. So now we've got plus 5x. And then what do you do in long division? Then you start over and you do it all again. Okay, so now we're going to go back up to step D, which is divide. And remember, we're only dividing the first term by the first term. So we can ignore the minus 3 and we can ignore the plus 5x. So what's 7x squared divided by x? Well, whenever you just divide by an x, you just get rid of an exponent. You just take away an x. So this becomes 7x. Now we're going to multiply. So 7x times x, we can write it out if you want. You don't have to do this if you think you can do it in your head. So we're distributing 7x times x is 7x squared. 7x times negative 3 is negative 21x. Next step, subtract. All right, when we subtract, that's confusing. So we're going to chicken scratch plus negative positive. Okay, that cancels. So 5x plus 21x is 26x. Bring down the next term. All right, and then we start the process again. Now we're just dividing 26x by an x. Just take away an x and you get 26. Now we're going to multiply 26 times x minus 3. So 26 times x is 26x. 26 times negative 3 is negative 78. All right, now subtract. Remember, when you subtract, you chicken scratch. So plus negative 26x and positive 78. Those cancel, and I'm left with 128. Well, what do we do with the remainder? Well, when we do normal division with normal numbers, like if we have a remainder, what do? 3 times 7 is 21. We subtract, we get 2 as a remainder. What do you do with that remainder? Well, you can add a decimal and keep going, or you can write your remainder as a fraction. Remember, your remainder goes on top as the numerator of the remainder, 2, and that 7 goes in the denominator position. So your divisor goes there. So that's what we're going to do here. We're going to put this as our numerator in our remainder. And then we're going to put this as our denominator. So that goes right there, just like we did with normal numbers. So when you say this number, it's 3 and 2/7. So what does and mean in math? It means addition. So we say and 128 over x minus 3. So this is our answer to that crazy long division problem. That's not too bad. It's just a lot of work. We went through this cycle 4 times. So 4 times the number of steps in each cycle is 4. So there's 16 math problems. That's a lot. It's just a lot of work, but you know how to do all this math. It's just a matter of remembering the steps. Don't forget, you can always rely on your monkeys that smell bad. So here is example 4. Divide 2x to the third minus x squared plus 4 by negative 2 plus x. Okay, we're not going to be fooled by that. We just have to write that in the right order. So let's write our big guy in the box. Start with our biggest term, 2x cubed, then go to x squared, and then our x term, and then our constant. We're going to divide by x minus 2. So press pause, see if you can do this problem. Go. Okay, how'd you do? All right, well, let's follow the steps. First step, D, divide. We're gonna divide the first term, 2x cubed by x. So 2x cubed divided by x. Remember, most of the time you're just gonna take away an x. So instead of 2x cubed, it's 2x squared. Next step, multiply. We're gonna multiply this whole thing by both of these terms. So 2x squared times x brings us back to 2x cubed, which will always happen. 2x squared times -2 is a -4x squared. Now we subtract. We're gonna subtract both of those things. So let's chicken scratch. Bok, bok, bok. Those cancel. We're left with a -1x squared and a +4x squared. That brings us down to 3x squared. I'll bring down the next term and we do it again. All right, divide 3x squared by x. Just take away an x, you get 3x. Now multiply. 3x times x is 3x squared. 3x times -2, -6x. Now subtract. Plus -3, +6. Those cancel. You get a -1x combined with a +6x, 5x. Plus 4, bring down the next one. Do it again. 5x divided by x. Just take away an x and you're left with 5. So now multiply, distribute. 5x minus 10. Subtract. These are always going to cancel, so really you're only just subtracting plus +10 to give you a 14. What do you do with the remainder? It becomes the numerator of your remainder. So plus 14 over x minus 2. Okay, that's not too bad, right? All right, let's move on. Example 5. We're going to divide this polynomial, -2x plus 5 plus 3x cubed by -3 plus x. All right, first step, write everything in order. So what goes on the inside of the box? This guy. So we're going to write 3x cubed. What comes after cubed? There's a squared. Well, I'm just going to show you what happens if I don't put something in here. Okay, so real quick, if I do this, and I'm going to go really quick so you can see what's happening. But if I try to go through my steps right now, D, divide first, okay, 3x cubed divided by x, that's 3x squared. And then multiply, so 3x squared times x is 3x cubed minus 3x squared. And then we subtract. Well, look what happens when we subtract. We get -2x minus 3x squared. You can't do that. They're not like terms. You can only add or subtract like terms. So this doesn't work. So I'm going to get my big red pen of death out here. Maybe make it a little bit thicker. And I'm going to say, no, that doesn't work. Okay? So let's figure out what does work. So I'm going to try to rewrite this like this. I need to include all the terms that are missing. So 3x cubed plus 0x squared minus 2x plus 5. And I'm dividing everything by x minus 3. Okay? Now you'll see, you probably know it already, but you'll see again why we need to include that 0x squared. It's kind of like when I say 1005. I don't say 1005. I have to fill in those missing place values with 0. Okay? So I need those zeros. So first step, divide. So 3x cubed divided by x is just 3x squared. Now multiply 3x squared times x, 3x cubed. 3x squared times -3 is -9x squared. Subtract. So when you subtract, remember, you don't have to even worry about that first term. So you're really just subtracting 9x squared. So you're adding positive 9x squared to a 0x squared. So you get 9x squared minus 2x. Bring down the next one. Start it again. 9x squared divided by x is just 9x. Multiply 9x times x is 9x squared. 9x times -3, -27x. Subtract. Chicken scratch, really just the second term, so plus positive 27x. -2x fights against a positive 27x to get a positive 25x. Bring down the next term. Divide again, 25x. Take out an x, you just get 25. Multiply 25x minus 75. Subtract Don't worry about that. Chicken scratch just the second term, and you get 80 when you add. Bring down, oh, there's no more. So this is our remainder. Where does our remainder go? Up on top. So plus 80 over our divisor, which is x minus 3. Boom. That's not bad, right? That's not bad at all. Okay, we're gonna do one more. You're gonna press pause. You're gonna show me what you got. Here we go. Example 6. We're gonna divide, and you'll always see it written out like this first, and then you just have to set it up. So -4 plus x cubed by, ooh, there's a lot missing in there. Spoiler alert. By -3 plus x. So press pause. Okay, so let's set it up. What goes on the inside of the box? X cubed, and then we have to fill in all the blanks all the way down to -4. It's plus 0x squared plus 0x minus 4. All divided by x minus 3. Okay, speed round. Just take away an x squared. Now you're gonna multiply, so you're gonna distribute the x squared to both of those. X cubed minus 3x squared. Subtract, don't worry about that. Just chicken scratch this. Boom, boom. So you get 3x squared plus 0x, bring down the next one. Now divide, just take away another x. 3x, multiply, distribute, 3x times x is 3x squared. 3x times -3 is -9x. Chicken scratch, just this one. Boop, 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 boop. So 0 plus 9 is just 9x. Bring down the next term. Do it again, take away an x, plus 9. Distribute, 9 times x is 9x. 9 times -3, -27. Chicken scratch. You really only have to do the second one, so plus positive 27 gives you a positive 23. That's your remainder. So we're gonna say plus 23 over x minus 3. Did you get that? Did you get that? So that's a lot of work. Remember, you know how to divide. You know how to divide two things, right? You divide the numbers normally, and then with variables, you just subtract the exponents. You know how to multiply. You know how to distribute one term times two terms. You know how to subtract. You know how to chicken scratch. You know how to bring down the next term. It's pretty simple if you look at just the individual steps. The trick is putting it all together. There are a lot of different opportunities for you to mess this up. Don't let it happen. You guys good? That's it for lesson 86. Boom, we're done. Good job.
Flack math! Give me some math and I'll give you some flack. Flack math!